whenever you're hearing this, paying attention to like, what time of year is it?
Yeah.
What would my ancestors be doing? And then what am I doing that's kind of aligned with that?
Hey loves! My name is Dantea and I'm your fave self-worth therapist and coach. And this is my show, Situationship. This show is about getting out of toxic situationships that go beyond partners to family and friends and everything in between, to living a life of joy and self-worth. Okay, let's get into it. Hello, loves. We're back with another episode. You know what? I'm just going to jump in. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be great. It's going to be a little different than the things we usually talk about. And this is actually a callback to something I mentioned in a few episodes back when I was talking about the changing of seasons and fall and trees and death and everything. So I have a very special treat for you today. Let me introduce our guest speaker. Is that what we're saying? Let me introduce my guest on the show today. This person's name is Allison Ramsey, pronoun she, her. Allison Ramsey is a licensed psychotherapist and infertility survivor with degrees in environmental education. Didn't know that. Makes sense. And psychology. She helps women realign with the rhythms of nature to reclaim their lives while trying to conceive. She believes that self-worth can come from a sense of belonging. Yeah, I believe that too. She helps people reconnect to the patterns of nature that are hardwired in our psyches to give peace and meaning throughout the seasons of our lives. Everyone, welcome Allison to the show. Hi, Allison.
Hello. It's so good to be here. It's so good to see you.
I'm so happy. I can't believe we're doing this. I was with Allison in the woods in Asheville a year ago.
As one does.
As one does. And it's an experience I'll never forget. And I'm so glad you were there. It helped me to feel grounded in a very new space, very dark space at night, by the way, everyone couldn't see. Yeah.
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah, that was amazing.
So, Allison, you're here to talk to us about Solstice. And earlier we were talking about like when this episode may come out, and I was mentioning I would like to come out in winter because I believe winter starts November 21st. And then you were like, well, and I'm like, oh, okay.
What is winter? When does it start?
Yes.
Well, really, like, technically it starts December 21st, but I think we start feeling the feelings of winter way before that.
Yeah.
And actually, like, what got me into kind of trying to understand the wheel of the year was when I lived in Northwest Washington, like even further north than Seattle. And the darkness was for real.
Oh, yes.
It was for real.
Yes.
And I just I had to figure out how to cope. I felt like I was a pretty coping person to start with, but living there when, like probably sometime around early December, it's starting to be dusk about like 3:45.
Oof. Yeah, right? I believe it.
And you're just like, oh, the sun just barely gets over the horizon.
Yeah.
You're like, how long do we have to do this?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like your social media friends are still like, wow, it's 50 degrees today.
Yeah.
We're having fun in the sun. And it was a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. Well, that's partly like why I wanted you to come on the show, because I found myself feeling, I don't know if it could be a mixture of like burning out, could be a mixture of me being a Christmas obsessed person. And once October 1st starts, I'm just like hardwired to Christmas Day, Hallmark movies, you name it, anything corny. I just made like fall muffins. Yeah, I don't even eat muffins like that, but I made
I love it.
I made pumpkin cream cheese muffins yesterday.
Nice. Oh,
You know?
you got it.
I'm in it, and And I remember our conversation before, because I'm thinking there has to be some type of connection between how I'm feeling about myself, how I'm feeling about my relationships, how I'm wanting to go inward. You've known me for maybe like 2 years now. I can be very social. I can be very outgoing. And now I'm kind of just like, close the door, lock the door.
Yeah.
I'm here by myself, you know?
And the seasons can give you permission to do that.
Yeah.
In this like burned out culture. Well, little history, like we didn't have electricity. Everybody didn't have electricity until, I don't know, like a lot of families were still farming up until 1950, like living in line with what is going on with the earth. And so it's only been like the last 20 years that we've been, especially with the internet, and to go full on all the time.
Wait, say more.
Like, even before the I always feel like I sound old when I'm like, before the internet. But just to like give perspective on how much life has changed so fast.
Yeah.
In that we used to be able to sign off. Like we used to be able to leave work at work.
True.
And now so often work is in our palms.
Yeah.
Work can be accessed at home. It can, an email can be sent from wherever, responding, your boss is texting you. And you can't turn it off unless you develop your own boundaries around that, which we as psychotherapists help folks with, right?
Yeah.
And otherwise, we don't give ourselves permission to tune out and not shut down, but maybe shut off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we take these 8 points in the year, like you might know the winter solstice, the summer solstice, the spring equinox, the fall equinox.
Oh.
But then there's 4 points in between all of those.
Oh.
And they kind of can align with our like farming ancestors, but also even, 12,000 years before that, just our like hunter-gatherer selves, where we were living in line with what was available to us in the natural world.
Yeah.
And so passing through this quarter point, Halloween actually aligns with it too. And it's so cool to think about how all these other traditions across the world also kind of align with these. So it says something about all of our earth-based peoples from as long as there's been people.
Yeah.
Of course, it's like opposite on the southern hemisphere, but for your northern hemisphere listeners, Halloween is the beginning of the darkness, the shadow side, which we align right with all the ghouls and trick and treating, which then also aligns with like Day of the Dead, and so there's some interculturality. That's a new word? If I don't know that's a word, but we're not the only ones thinking about this like throughout the years. Okay. So it's a time to turn toward the darkness, to allow. Oh, I loved what you said. If you all haven't listened to her October podcast about fall, so spot on about, you were saying like the leaves, like the trees, like it's time to let it go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
What are some things you're thinking about letting go?
Oh, yes. So oh God, let's see. I'm thinking about, let me actually take a moment to answer this.
Okay. It can be big or small. It can even be like, I am letting go of these pants that I am not going to fit into.
No, seriously. I've been telling myself I need to declutter, Marie Kondo, my like office space area, and then my closet. I want to get rid of some stuff.
Yes.
But for me, the control is the thing that keeps, I feel like, coming up over and over again. Letting go of control in so many spaces, letting go of control of like, even when we met, I always feel like my life should look like this. And I feel that strongly. Like, I know why people feel like, at 25, I should be this, and that. I really believe that at this week in my life, it should look like this. Ooh. I should be able to book a flight to Bali, the best bungalow on the water. I should be able to do that today. $20,000, book, spend, reserve.
Yes.
Like, that's what I want to be able to do. So I'm allowing myself to delegate more. I had an episode come out last week with Tamiri, the Black female astrologer, and she was mentioning how, I'm someone, based on my signs and everything, that I need motivation. Like, there are a lot of things I want to do, and I need the motivation. And my motivation looks like having my, I'm going to start working with a social media manager. Our first meeting's today.
Fantastic.
I have a VA. I have a podcast editor, right? And there's thank you. Allison's doing a happy dance. Mm-hmm. There's a side of me that's like, well, you can do it all yourself.
Oh, boy.
And, if you just, I don't know, stay up till 2 a.m. every day like I used to. And then there's another option where I can delegate out so I can see, like, what is my little creativity? Something else I'm thinking about letting go of, Allison. So timely for you to ask me this. I just keep getting messages. Like, I want to do more. I want to reach people in bigger numbers, right?
Yes, please.
And every time I sit with, like, okay, girl, what do you really want to do? I want to take the podcast live. I want to have, like, community, like, retreats. Like, it doesn't have to be like a retreat to Thailand. It could literally be like, let's meet at this hotel. I reserved a space for us. Let's all just come together, workshops, whatever. And that scares me because it's just like, all I really have known is one-on-one work.
Look what you just did there. Was you did the autumn stuff. You let some stuff go. You let go of control. Mm-hmm. And then almost immediately it gave you let go of having to do it all.
Yeah.
Burning the candle at both ends. And then almost immediately it gave you space to grow something else. Now that is seasonal energy work right there. That was awesome.
Thank you.
When we clear it out and let go, like, there's some quote that's something like have the courage to be like the trees, to let things go and stand naked in all your glory. I can't remember where that comes from, but something kind of, it looks like they're not doing anything, but they're deepening their roots. Like they're giving us permission to rest, to dream. Because when spring comes and you watch those leaves unfurl, and then you're at May, which is May 1st is another quarter point. Okay. Then it's like that blam. The trees are like, here I am. I am doing, and it's kind of like us. Like, we can think about our energy throughout the year, that we have to have the winter to rest and dream and kind of wonder about what do I want my field to look like? Yeah. Yeah. And kind of think about it like farming your life in a way that I think farming is probably pretty rooted in everybody in some capacity. Yeah. Even though we're not connected to farms anymore, we're like, it's in there, and we can think about, well, this quarter point of Halloween is the third harvest. Like, we got all the pumpkins. That was the last thing growing. All the gourds, everything is out with all its third harvest glory. Yeah. So that we can then say, all right, all that work is done. We're harvesting, like, what didn't work for me? Yeah. What do I want to let go of, so that you can start resting? And, like, along with that is having your own rituals. I love the pumpkin muffin idea. Like, and it could be anything. Like, food is really good. I think clothing, I know somebody who's like, oh, I have a special personal holiday. It's boot day. Which I think we can all relate to. You're like, maybe you don't like winter as much, but at least these
Got
boots. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And even like, fingernail polish color. Yeah.
Got my reds.
Yes. I've got my toes, but I won't show them to you here. And it's kind of sweet too, because nobody is seeing your feet except for you. Yeah, exactly. Really? I mean, some other people, but we've got cozy socks on. Exactly. But you take them off, you get in the shower, you're like, it's a little wink to yourself moment. that also enhances a sense of worth. I know it sounds small, but it's like a little sweet wink to saying you're important and you matter, and I'm going to treat myself like I matter and not waiting for someone else, like for a reason to do that.
Yeah. So. You said that in a way that I don't think I've ever been able to say. Like, how would you kind of use the toast or maybe like the pumpkin cream cheese muffins I made yesterday as like a little wink to myself that I matter?
Oh, how would I use that?
Yeah, like, how would you like kind of build that out more if you were explaining it to someone?
Ooh, yeah, like you might even put a date on the calendar that you know that that's going to happen. That I kind of do it with other foods where I don't. Okay, to be honest, it's I'm not drinking bourbon until after the equinox.
Okay. When's the equinox?
It's around September 21st is the autumn equinox.
Oh, okay.
It's the day and night are equal length, about, depending on where you are. And then the spring equinox is around March 21st.
Okay.
So, spring equinox is like kind of around Easter. Side note, Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. There's some earth-based stuff for you.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Wait, so first full moon, equinox, then Easter Sunday.
Yeah, like it has to be after March 21st and then a full moon and then the Sunday after that is Easter.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Now I feel like I'm going all the way back to childhood.
Yeah.
Is Easter, is how much I guess I haven't paid attention. Is Easter Sunday one of those holidays that moves around?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's like, it can be like March 22nd or like April 20th.
Oh.
And people will be like, wow, Easter's late this year.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's just an interesting example of how ancient some of these celebrations are. And how people have been living in line with what's going on the earth forever.
My mind is like spinning. Is there someone out in the universe saying like, okay, full moon, okay, now this is where Easter can fall?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be so ancient. And I can't quite, this is all still like fairly new to, I mean, it feels new because I've probably been looking at it for like 10 years, but it still feels new because it's still exciting each year that I don't think of time like linearly. I think of it as like a spiral kind of that we get to like spiral up.
Interesting.
And like do each season a little differently or like therapeutically we're like carrying the same stuff, but maybe we can like pack it up and carry it a little better.
Yeah. Okay.
By making space for what matters. Do you want to spend your time focused on some outside thing that you can't control? Or do you want to say, sorry guys, first weekend in November is pumpkin spice weekend.
Absolutely.
And that's attractive in itself of like your friends will want to be like, well, can I come?
Yeah.
And you get to decide.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Wait, you were talking about not doing bourbon. What's the if you want to say?
I don't know. It just feels like a winter drink to me. That's all. Like, like the lighter, the clear liquors they feel summer to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're one of those. I love it. I love it.
Not that it's all about that, but it's just a way that some of our foods and drinks
it's your own
can
ritual.
be.
I hear.
Yeah.
I'm with it. Listen. I love brown liquor. I just know it makes me so sleepy. So I have to be like, I'm either in the house, not going anywhere. It's not a cute little, let's go to dinner and have a drink and then walk around. No, like let's get the bourbon, home sleep.
It's an inside
That's an
home
inside
drink.
Exactly.
That's right.
Okay.
And that can be true for any, somebody who likes Sprite versus Coke or, water, warm or ice water, or actually tea is definitely a part of that. I don't really do tea except for wintertime.
Yeah.
In the afternoon.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, me being from Seattle, first and foremost, Seattle and Atlanta, everyone, I know I say that. My body was born in Seattle, Washington. That's my first home. I still drink tea throughout the year. I just do. And it always brings me back to my grandmother. Not my grandmother, my great grandmother always brings me back to her, because we would drink tea all the time. It had to be Lipton. If there was any other tea besides Lipton, it was Earl Grey. That was it.
Ooh,
that was it.
That's very fitting for that part of the country too.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example of like some of these things you get to create your own, and kind of paying attention to, whenever you're hearing this, paying attention to like what time of year is it?
Yeah.
What would my ancestors be doing if we're assuming they had to rely on their own hard work and gardens and farms for survival?
Yeah.
And then what am I doing that's kind of aligned with that?
Yeah.
And that could be batching your podcast, or like noticing in the next few years while you're doing this work of like, oh, my energy come December. I remember you said at one point you wanted to take all of December off. I think that's an excellent goal, and it's allowed to shift and change too. You might do it and be like, that didn't actually work for me. I was really bored. I got cozied out, if that's possible.
It is possible. It is possible. I cozied too hard.
Well, and that's a good example of like how we then need respite from anything we're doing.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to do all of it all at once, but most people, I think, like try to go at the same level all year long.
Exactly.
Like, get up at 6, go to bed at the same time. Like
exactly.
Go to the same places, see the same people. And be like burn out.
What I'm hearing is more so you mentioned it before, like permission. Like a lot of times I talk to my friends, I even have a client that said she really doesn't want to do anything once, what did she say, fall? Yeah. Once fall hits, she doesn't want to do anything till spring.
So that's a good point of like, we still have to figure out how to maintain some of our basic, I think like basic tenets of health, like eating well, moving your body, washing your body, socializing, creativity. It was kind of at the top of my head, but like how to keep those going. Maybe you don't, if you're typically like love to do, I don't know, 30 minutes on the elliptical at the gym in September.
Yeah.
Maybe in February, when it's harder to get to the gym, you take a walk during your work day, like when you can still get some sunlight and so like having some flexibility with those routines, but not stopping them altogether.
Yes. So they're finding a way to still take care of your basic needs and listen to like what the equinox, the solstice, like what that is encouraging you to do. Because I get that, like what you said about me wanting to take the whole month of December off. I am still working towards that.
Okay.
Right now, I'm taking the last 2 weeks off of December and the first week off in January.
Yes.
And I haven't done a 3-week time off since 2019, maybe.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a long time. So I'm still going to take care of myself. However, I'm allowing myself to like stretch and play and celebrate myself. I don't do that. I usually, like example, this year I'm going back home and I keep telling myself I'm not planning anything until I get there.
Oh, I love that.
Because if I plan ahead, every day will be booked, and I might not even rent a car because that would be even more tempting to like get out and go and I just want to chill by my bonus mom's fireplace, have her husband, make me drinks and eat smoked salmon. Like I just,
I love
just
it.
really rest.
And you described a lot of those smoked salmon. That sounds like something our ancestors did to preserve food, right? Like fire time.
Yeah.
If you don't have access to like fire, candles are the best. I've started just lighting a candle when I start reading. I have this little area in the reading area that, and it's just a note too of like ceremony saying this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't love like smelly candles, but I do.
Me too.
And I feel like we need this even more in the dark half of the year. And the dark half would be Halloween to May 1st.
Oh,
is that
wow.
right? September. Oh, yeah. Halloween to May 1st.
Wow.
You can also kind of think of, instead of thinking about the farming years, you can also think of these points as like time on a clock. So if Halloween is 9 p.m., you can kind of think about like what's 9 p.m. energy, depending on if it's a Wednesday or Saturday. But in general, like it's dark.
Yeah.
Like things are starting to wind down. You're thinking about resting for the day, maybe giving thanks, having a little bit more of your last bit of your meal and being grateful for the hard work that you did that day. And then winter solstice being midnight, dark and quiet, no movement.
Yeah.
Like just come within. It's the longest night. And it's really long in Washington.
Yeah.
It's almost 8 hours of daylight in Washington in the winter, and then almost 16 hours in summer solstice.
Yes.
Like you're so far north on the globe that access is bonkers. Access to vitamin D.
Yeah.
To then February 2nd or 1st, which is Groundhog's Day around the U.S., which is funny until I learned about the quarter points, and it's like, oh, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of the leftovers of our this American culture making sense of what maybe our ancestors were doing, of like, is it spring yet? What's happening? Because you see crocuses and birds might be starting to sing. There's some evidence that
that
spring's
coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You're still like thinking about, it's still slumber time, but you might be thinking, oh, there's some hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then March 21st, the spring equinox is like 6 a.m. So it's like maybe a little cold, but it's like starting to open up and move into what's happening for the day or your year.
Yeah.
Like enacting those plans that you made in the winter time.
Yeah.
And when we can be aligned with that, I think we can firstly invite ourselves into it to make sense of what our needs are. Maybe you don't want to join a friend in a big extroverted event in January or February.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do feel like you have that need and to join in with it.
Yeah. If you're listening to this episode, I bet you're wondering what behaviors you're doing that keep you from getting your needs met and ending up in situationship after situationship. I got you. I've created a situationship quiz and I'm so excited about it. Take the quiz to discover more behaviors and more tips for navigating situationships, because I know you're in more than one right now. No judgment, boo-boo. I used to have 5 situationships at a time. Yes. So you're not alone. You can find the quiz at www.dontea.co/quiz. That's DONTEA.co quiz. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. Okay, back to the episode. If you're listening to this episode, I bet you're wondering what behaviors you're doing that keep you from getting your needs met and ending up in situationship after situationship. I got you. I've created a situationship quiz and I'm so excited about it. Take the quiz to discover more behaviors and more tips for navigating situationships, because I know you're in more than one right now. No judgment, boo-boo. I used to have 5 situationships at a time. Yes. So you're not alone. You can find the quiz at www.dontea.co/quiz. That's DONTEA.co/quiz. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. Okay, back to the episode.
Oh, summer. Well, if you think about, like, if it was like summer's June 21st-ish. Have you ever been to the Solstice parade in Seattle?
No, oh my God. It sounds like right up Seattle's alley. No.
Yep, it is off the hook.
I bet.
Lots of nudity.
I believe that too.
And body paint.
Yes, I believe that too.
And I think that area definitely needed it, because even it's still not quite, doesn't feel quite like summer in my, like, from my Midwestern roots. It's like, it's June 21st.
Exactly.
And, it's still kind
and
of
I still have a
rainy,
jacket.
cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But if you can think about what you like to do in the summertime, and it's noon all the time, which is kind of the way I think our culture tries to operate. Like, it's noon, you got to get out there and you've got to go. Like, keep being productive, no time to rest.
Yeah.
Like, how many people do you talk to that, like, don't take a lunch break?
Ugh. Yes.
Like, yourself included, maybe.
Right? Yeah, I don't have a designated lunch break. I know when I'm working at 2:00, I don't have any appointments for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'll eat there, but I do not have like lunch.
Yeah. It's I started a long time ago. I don't always get it. Sometimes it'll be 1 or 2, but that first thing I leave the office and do this 2-mile walk around downtown. I bring my umbrella. Something I learned from Seattle too was no bad weather, just bad clothes. Because I figured out I can't stay indoors the whole time.
Yeah.
I tried, and then it's like, oh man, this is going on for too long.
Yeah.
So that's that part of that maintenance of, like, how do we still get out there? If that means, like, getting a really nice jacket or good boots or something that you can. I know people who, they have a dog, and dogs are really helpful to keep you getting outside, but they're like, I don't have good boots because I hate the winter. I just take them out in my flip-flops.
Oh God.
It's like, well, who is suffering here?
Yeah, the toesies. Yeah.
That's right.
Ooh.
So then we have August 1st, which is like 3 p.m. So we're kind of we're getting a little tired.
Yeah.
Right? It's a universal nap time. Its sun is still pretty high in the sky, but you might be able to feel the days, like, shortening, which they technically start getting shorter after the summer solstice. Yeah. Which is, so this part of what we think of as summer is really, like, days are actually getting shorter. So August 1st is then also the first harvest. Okay. So to me, that is like peaches and berries and all the bounties of summer. Even though we can get all this stuff anytime we want. Yeah. I still try to, like, hold off and just, like, gorge that time of year.
I like that. Yeah.
And then you really appreciate it. Then moving to August 1st, the fall equinox around September 21st is 6 p.m. So definitely the day is starting to be its second harvest. We're still like reaping the benefits of everything, but nothing's freezing yet, at least in this country. And then starting to think about like what we're letting go of, and the grieving and the Thanksgiving, moving into the Halloween middle point, which is 9 p.m. And then you've got your wheel of the year.
I love that. I need like a calendar that says all that, because as you were talking, I'm thinking about what usually comes up in my work around relationships and dating and being single. And summertime is like, get out there, spread your loins, spread your seat. Like, it's just like, let's just date, have fun, let's drink, roof parties, let's travel, let's be our best selves, let's change our hair, cut our hair, dye our hair, whatever, right? It's a lot of that. And then as we move into late fall, definitely winter, everyone's talking about having like a cuddle buddy, a bed buddy. And I'm wondering if any of that sounds like it's some alignment there.
You describing the summertime self, it makes me think of the trees and the flowers in all their bloom, right? They're like May 1st, the quarter point of spring equinox and summer solstice. It traditionally, anciently was like a fertility festival.
Oh.
You can think about, your own imagery around like what a maypole might represent.
Maypole.
Have you heard of it? It's like it's like ribbon. It's ancient stuff. Like people have ribbons and like dance around the maypole.
Yeah, I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
So that the maypole might be something that people are celebrating fertility around.
Yes.
And so that makes sense. I'm thinking about people just being out in all their glory.
Yes.
Just like the flowers.
Yeah.
And then there is a like closing down of, I knew somebody, this was before we even ever talked about Wheel of the Year stuff. She was like, I kind of a chronic online dater, fortunately, unfortunately. And she's like, I kind of like to shut things down around like by Halloween. Like if I don't have somebody, worked. So it's its own kind of harvest. She was like, if I've worked from after Valentine's Day was her point. To after Valentine's, it feels safe.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of risk, like not a lot of big things that come up.
Yeah.
And if she didn't have somebody by Halloween, she kind of like would take a break, and then to get back on it at another time. Cause it just felt too like high stakes to be dating around to get a month or two in. And then what do you do for Christmas, or what are the expectations?
Exactly.
And so it's kind of a neat way to take that time back for herself and say, you know what, I want to pay attention to me and what I make my own muffins.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that.
Yeah. And any of this stuff, you might have your own winter in May. That like paying attention to what else is going on in your life and acknowledging like, you know what, it feels like winter. I'm going to have a winter today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to not talk to anybody. I'm going to light my candles. I'm going to have a throwback to December, January.
Yes. Yes. No, I love hearing about their rituals. I love hearing about, it's just been a time of me speaking with people who are calling back to ancestral things. And so I'm just noticing I'm in that space right now and learning more about that, and it makes sense. You know, for me, it truly makes sense. I love Christmas, not like Christmas Day, like it's not that. I just love the energy and the festivities and the colors and the lights and this kind of like faux joy everyone has on their face. And I'm just like, hell yeah, let's all pretend life is great. Like, I just love it. And the Christmas music. And I just, you know what? I always feel envious around this time too, when the students are let out for winter break.
Oh boy.
And it's like it's already carved out for you as an adult.
Juicy.
Yeah, I have to carve it out for myself,
That's
and
right.
there's risk involved in that.
Yes.
And so I'm like, this year, since I'm gonna have 3 weeks off, I really just want to just live like if I was back in school, winter break.
You're making it happen because you're living in line with that feeling that you already have, and it's. I don't think it's by accident that we have all of this, like, basically celebration of light in the dark that we all need during this dark time.
Yeah.
That I do wish we, like, kept lights up, or it was okay. It can be okay. Anybody can do it. But I feel like we also need it through January too.
Yeah.
That January and February can feel really dark after all the excitement from the Christmas time.
Yes, it can. It can.
And how to keep your own light about that. That people go pretty hard on all the goodness, and it's like, maybe we could spread it out a little bit.
Yeah. Spread some of those sugar cookies out. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, and that reminds me, January 1st is the worst time to start a New Year's resolution.
Oh, tell us more.
It is the worst time. It is dark. It is cold. And a lot of times those things have to do with, exercise. If your New Year's resolution is to, like, read 50 books this year, then sure, start January 1st. But since so often the resolutions seem to require the energy of spring.
True. Yeah.
It's almost like saying, hey, it's midnight. Are you ready to start on all of your life's dreams?
Hell no.
Hell no. I need to keep dreaming.
Yeah, I need to keep dreaming.
I really, really encourage people to keep thinking about what they would like to, like, plant so that they can harvest. But don't do anything about it in January at all.
Yeah, at all.
Even,
oh my gosh.
Maybe by February 2nd, which this is kind of like there's some Celtic names for these quarter points.
Okay.
Imbolc is February 1st, February 2nd, which is I don't know. I'm not going to try to repeat any of that knowledge that I don't. People can look that up, but maybe by Imbolc, but more likely by spring equinox. But March 21st would be a wonderful time to start new habits. But I encourage people to just turn off the alarm and stay rested throughout January. Yes.
I love that. This is just so validating for me because you're right. Like, when you describe January as like midnight, I don't want to do anything. Like, ideally, it's nice to plan my year because I just love to plan.
Yes.
Having my own business, I do need to be planning. Like, I'm going to do a solo retreat in December. And I'm like escaping to, like, one of my favorite hotels back home. And I'll do that for, like, a day. So what I'm trying to say is it would seem like I have to drudge up a lot to really plan out my year. And then say it's something extreme, like, I don't know, lose weight or grow my hair by 6 inches, like for the first quarter. It's just something that's like you'd have to really buckle down. You don't want to do that. You want to keep, like, the turf is still hardened and cold.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you just want to just chill. And this has really given me a lot of permission when you said, like, fall, the gourds, that's the last harvest we'll get for the year. And that's really how I'm feeling this year. I feel like I've done everything that I could physically, emotionally, mentally do. And I want to just close shop.
Yes.
Like, just close shop. Done. No more shop talk.
People feel that way. When I feel for people who are actually, like, trying to get things done or, like, get a job in December, because I feel like a lot of people after Thanksgiving are just phoning it in.
Oh, yeah.
And because there's so much to think about or not think about. I don't know that it's just how it seems to be. Yeah. And so when I do see people working really hard, like when we see people showing up in different spaces if they haven't pre-planned it. But I'm just like, stop it. Like, turn it off. You know, like, go for a walk.
Yes.
That's actually one of the last things I'll say is like a way to start to become aware of what's going on around you is my favorite tradition is a sit spot.
Okay.
Which is, it's funny, I always feel like starting it about this time of year, if I haven't continued it or getting back to it, we don't have to do the same thing all the time, but it always comes back to me this time of year just so you can either pick a spot, hopefully mostly surrounded by natural stuff, if that's, you know, in your yard, or even just sitting in my office right now. It looks out at a parking lot, but I've got a shade over the parking lot and I can just see the trees.
Perfect. Yeah.
And so throughout the year, I see the way the trees change. It's better, I think, to be out in it.
Yeah.
5 minutes, just checking it out. And if you don't want to be sitting, taking a walk near where you live or something that's easily accessible, no matter the weather, because we always feel better when we've gotten to change our input, especially when we've been inside, breathing the same stale air all day. You don't want to do it, but then when you get back, you're glad you did it.
Exactly.
And then by spring, you're like, oh, there's a crocus. Oh, I think there's a bud starting to show up on the trees, and you get the best reward because you've been paying attention.
Yeah.
And what's going on out there will help you maintain that permission of like, wait, it's still cold. It's still dark. Definitely not time to lose the weight. To have self-compassion about how to motivate throughout the year ongoingly.
I love it. I have one more question to ask you. I know we have to start wrapping up. Is there anything that you're doing for this season we're entering into that you're putting down, that you're putting pause on?
That is a good question. I've been thinking about it. Mostly I've been in a place of the gratitude part of this part of the year. Because this time last year, I was starting to go full on into like a side gig that I did not realize until probably January. I think February is when I officially retired from it.
Yeah.
And because I worked really, really hard in an extra way, in addition to my other work, to try to I don't know, change something about my my job, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
And it never fed me in the way that I wanted it to feed me. And my patience grew thin. I know other people have longer stints of patience, and I appreciate that. And I think I spent so much of the year in gratitude and rest, which wasn't quite aligned with the seasons. But now that it's been almost a year, I finally feel ready to start planting and dreaming again. And so I don't know what that is. I think I'll stay in gratitude. This is super cheesy. We started this little strips of construction paper and writing something we're grateful for, and then making a ring in the house.
Oh, cute.
It's super cute. Yes. Just one of those, I know gratitude gets pounded in the helping profession, but it's for real. And it kind of changes your alignment with the universe.
Yeah.
We're always wanting, which is fine. Yes. We have to let the universe know what we want. But we also have to say, hey, universe, I see you. Thanks for this bounty thus far.
Yes.
And
while I'm
for
here.
Next year. That's right. So I'll have to sit with that and kind of see what I am open and aware and like receiving of what is yet to come, but I'm not like pounding the door on what I think it is. And I don't know, maybe something about this podcast interview could be a part of what's next. We'll see.
I'm excited. Please keep me updated. Even if I have to come to where you're living, I mean, I'd need any excuse to go back.
Please
it was such
do.
a cute little place. Some of the best sushi ever I've had. So keep me updated. It seems like we're in similar spaces. I don't want to try to create anything. I just want to sit in gratitude, thankfulness, and celebrate. My friend told me the other day, she was like, as your friend, I feel like I have to tell you, you are not in a place to dream. You need to celebrate yourself. You've done a lot this year. And I'm
oh my gosh, that gives me chills. Yes, I could totally see the accuracy in that statement.
Yes.
If anybody wants to know more, I have to plug some of my learning resources,
Yes,
which
please.
This person does not even know me, but she runs something called theseasonalsoul.com.
Love that.
And has a lot of great information about the beginnings of this, or not beginnings, but I mean, once you start diving in, there's just so much more. And so this is kind of the surface. I think there's even more to lend itself to us. And so that's Aaron Bruce at the Seasonal Soul.
Aaron Bruce.
Who's
Awesome.
also in Seattle, interestingly. So
Oh,
maybe there's something about that area that's like, oh my goodness, how do we get through?
How do we get through? Yeah. So I'm so happy you came on today. Where can people find you, and is there anything that you want to share from your own business?
Yeah, I'm mainly work with women experiencing infertility, and I'm at www.fertilepeace.com, and I'm edit there, Mackenzie. If they can find me at fertilepeace.com, and I'm happy to answer questions, to chat.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Well, everyone, I hope that you learned something from this episode. Like I said before, it's different. We're not talking about necessarily about relationships to others, talking about relationships to self and nature and rituals and historical ties and things like that. So I hope it's inspiring, encouraging, and then stretching. And so until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the show, loves. This show was produced by Mackenzie Mazzell and me, Dantea. If you got a question you'd like me to answer, which I know you do, please send it to dantea@soireesintherapy.com. That's SOIREES for soirees. When you do that, the answer might just become an episode, and I would love to keep talking about your question. Want to work with me? The link is in the show notes. I'll see you there, and I'll see you in the next episode. Okay, bye. If you're listening to this episode, I bet you're wondering what behaviors you're doing that keep you from getting your needs met and ending up in situationship after situationship. I got you. I've created a situationship quiz and I'm so excited about it. Take the quiz to discover more behaviors and more tips for navigating situationships, because I know you're in more than one right now. No judgment, boo-boo. I used to have 5 situationships at a time. Yes. So you're not alone. You can find the quiz at www.dantea.co/quiz. That's DONTEA.co/quiz. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. Okay, back to the episode.